Welcome back to the Electric Studio and the Museum of Odds. This unknown has been out here for over 10 years. I don't work it anymore. The switch is seized, but it just plugs on. Came out of an abandoned house. I have no idea what it is. But going inside, we have this lovely Casablanca Broadway Limited, 5 assorted antique glass shades. And I will turn the light on, although it's quite bright on the phone. So probably easier is to turn on some room lights, like so. Now, I don't change the speed on this because it's working slumber quiet, and I've got the speed control set exactly right. So what I will do is spin down. Keep it on this nice atmospheric low. Switch is over here. Fan on the right, light on the left. And here we go. Despite being in a house that had a lot of grease and dust problems, this has really good bearings. It's quiet, and I'm surprised the slumber quiet works fine. This was one of my dream fans. Wanted it forever and ever, and now it's here, and it's lovely. Yes, there's a rat's nest of wiring up there. It's all as tidy as it can be. See what I mean about good bearings? Pardon the shaky camera. And that's that. And back on we go. Wrong switch. And it takes a minute to get up to speed. There we go. Moving along inside, we have Her Royal Highness, the Grand Duchess. This is, for those who don't know, the first replica made of the original so-called bird or bird wing fans, the Lavelle fan light made by Midwest Chandelier of Kansas City. I forget if this is a Model 3 or a Model 5 Midwest fan or Lavelle. And these replicas, unlike the originals, which were polished brass with amber glass like this, they also made the Grand Duchess in antique brass, black or white, and also with clear glass as an option. This one, the box is marked black with clear glass, but the fan has black blades, which is unusual. Normally the brass fan came with brass colored blades, gold painted in fact. So this is closest to the original. And Also, for those who haven't seen these, it's just a beautiful chandelier. Turn on some background light so you can actually see it with the light fixture off. There we go. Until you need a ceiling fan, and then it becomes a ceiling fan. That always makes visitors jump. It's fairly quiet and puts out a nice breeze. 36 inches. Originals were 35. Wobbles slightly. A little dusty, as you can see. That happens in here. And now we'll turn that off. I have the blades adjusted so they close as quietly as well as these do with metal blades. I love how the blades just kind of peek up over the housing. A little mysterious vibe there. Moving further along, we have this Harbor Breeze. I believe it's a Harbor Breeze, yes, which was apparently a Fanimation design. Hangs directly over my desk, which is right here, or almost directly. And in the summer, it's very nice. This was bought from Home Depot, I believe it is. It's Harbor Breeze, that's right. I don't follow Harbor Breeze stuff, so I don't really remember. But this was the discontinued, and it was the display model, and they were averse to sell it to me. It took quite a bit of convincing. But because it was the display model, it didn't have a box or a shorter down rod or a wall control or anything. So this is the way it is, and the switch is up there. So we will turn it on to low first. And as I'm sure viewers know, this is a gyro fan of sorts, sort of a single gyro. The entire housing rotates. At this low speed, it's a very nice background breeze for warm days. Supplements the air conditioning nicely. Quiet, doesn't wobble. Once it gets around here to where I can reach the switch without hitting the blades, turn it up to medium. Couldn't be happier with this. Fits in perfectly in this spot where I couldn't put a larger fan, but this fits. Now we'll turn it to high. Quite a healthy breeze out of this guy. Pardon the shaky camera movement occasionally when I have to switch hands. Now we'll turn it off and do spin down from high. Next we come right over here to this lovely little 29-inch beauty. I've seen these come in several finishes and lighter dark blades, these blonde color or a cherry finish. I've seen these variously marked Monterey Fan Company Palm Beach Collection, seen them marked Sovereign Designer's View Collection, and I've also seen them marked Key Largo, which they resemble quite nicely. Bulbs for these are quite expensive, so there's only a few working in here. I'm going to switch to LED eventually, but we'll turn that off and then we'll go low first. Little noisy bearings on this. Very nice for destratifying heat. Medium. And high. And spin down. All right. Next in the line is another 29-inch, this little Homestead Universal Monterey. Monterey were the 38-inch and the 29-inch fans, and the 29, of course, had a much higher blade pitch. This one tested with a stroboscope. Its 3 speeds are, I assume due to the short blades, ridiculously high, identical ridiculously high, and slightly less ridiculously high. So I have it set on low, and then I use a 4-speed wall control. Again, the glass is antique, 4 different assorted shades. And this is low speed. So we'll turn it up to medium low. Very nice to sleep under. My bed is right here. Medium high. And high speed on which it wobbles slightly. Tassel pull chain because of course. Now this was one of my dream fans too. This was my oldest dream fan. When I first walked into Seattle Lighting Fixture Company, the local lighting showroom chain, about maybe age 8, so 1987 or so, I told my parents, I want that one. Well, that one was over $400, so we weren't getting that. One day, this just showed up in a box on my doorstep. Thanks to Dan Spiffy Newman, who knew I wanted one and found one and didn't have a place for it and just sent it to me. Now the light is quite bright when I turn it on from here, but I'll turn it on nonetheless so you can see the shades, which each have a different design. But they're all loosely, as on all these fixtures, they're all loosely the same category. So these are all hexagonal, pressed glass and loosely imitating cut glass. Now, how fast is this fan on actual high? Well, let's find out. Oops, there we go. Throw some bologna and some lettuce and some bread at this and make some sandwiches. It'll slice and dice anything. And why not? We'll do spin down from the super high. Sorry about the focus at points here. Bound to go out a little. Right. Now we have to open this door, and when we do, there's this little door switch here. Operates a little call bell on the wall. Slide on in here, and we have this lovely 20th Century Limited. This came from the same source as the Broadway, also working slumber quiet, and because the ceiling is so low in here, I've removed the lights. This has white cane blades. It came with plain oak, but these came from the same source. And there were actually some new in box white cane blades too, and I preferred these with their slightly yellowed color. Now again, here I've got the trim pot exactly the way I want it. The trim pot, excuse me, the control. And sometimes this is a little faster and sometimes a little slower than you see because slumber quiet, old slumber quiet. But we'll switch it off here and see how long this guy takes. Little view of something in the background. Two things in the background. You may not be able to see one of them very well because it's in the dark. And there we go. These are also just stunning fans. Back when Casablanca was doing mostly replicas of antiques, this is a replica of a Westinghouse Deluxe, and the Broadway is a replica of the Dayton that collectors call the Oak Leaf, of course. And then around here, it'll be a bit bright, but we have this Casablanca ceiling pan light. Pardon the shaking camera for just a moment. And this again has assorted antique shades. In this case, they're all frosted. Center one is cut. And of course, similarly, there's antique shades there, and antique shades there, and antique shades there. I just love them. Pick them up when I find them. Doorbells. And of course, around here, we're going to pass by the lovely ornate fan for a moment and come over here. Here we have the only Hunter original copy made better, slightly better than the originals, and heavier. Classic fan out of Denton, Texas, I believe. And I've left the classic fan medallion on the bottom, both because I like it, but also because there's no room for a light here. It would hang too low. The fan, the motor housing and everything came from a group buy I got about 10 years ago. The blades, however, you'll notice are bright brass. That's because that buyout did not have any small blades that fit the small motors. They were all 42-inch motors and mostly 52-inch blades that didn't fit. But these came from the Tyler, Texas Restore. And I have the blade pitch set to flat just because I think it's quirky and interesting. And another bit of my electrical quirkiness is the fact that it's not connected to a sealing box, but rather has a plug plugged into a single sealing outlet. And the reason the plug is black instead of white was I wanted it to stand out. This is controlled via a wall switch because it is 1 speed. We'll turn this on. It doesn't put out a lot of air with the blades flat, of course, but it makes my Tibetan prayer flags up here fly, which is what they're supposed to do. Just a lovely little fan. Turn that off. See how long this takes. Go. And now swinging around here to the wonderful New Orleans Centennial. Of course, it would probably be good if I were to dim the lights down quite a bit like so. I have this hung on a very long down rod, and the cloth cord winding its way down the down rod is attached to a 1940s clamp-on light for a that's intended to be a reading light to attach to your headboard, which shines on the clock up there. That requires a ladder to get to, so really I only wind it up and set it when I have visitors coming. This fan has classic fan blades, unfortunately very warped, but they're walnut with cane and those beautiful arched tips. And again, 5 assorted antique shades. This one here is kind of an Art Nouveau design, iridescent inside and out. Come on, focus. This one is a really ornate etched floral pattern. Here we have a hanging basket of flowers. This one's iridescent on the inside. And this one has some nice floral patterns. All of these acid etched. Then the center shade on this is a magnificent teardrop. Maybe this would look better if I turned it completely down, so you can really see it.
It has panels that are cut and etched with a big cut oval window, cut patterns between with a star at the bottom, and then a multi-point star on the bottom. Absolutely magnificent. And of course a tassel again, because why not? Now this one is, of course, a 3-speed fan. So we're going to use its variable speed wall control to turn it all the way up. The speed you just saw is the slowest it will go without stalling. And of course it wobbles a little bit on high. And then we'll just spin down. Turn that down a bit so you can see these beautiful blades, and because this has bearings in the motor and also at the bottom of the scroll work, it stops fairly quickly, and again that's why it's not able to do a real true atmospheric low. And that concludes the tour of the ceiling fans of the Museum of Odds and the Electric Studio. Thank you for watching.